Day number 4. What are we doing today?
Tonight,
Yeah.
we are going to fabricate some gunnels, and we're going to fabricate your anchor well top.
Beautiful. That's it?
That'll probably pull us up tonight. It's a lot of work, mate. There's probably, I don't know, easily 25 metres of cutting tonight.
Yeah, right.
So we do the tops of your gunnels, and hopefully we can do the inside coning.
Yeah.
The curve that runs around there.
Yeah.
This curve. We'll give this boat some
Beautiful.
texture.
Give you a quick look at what we did yesterday, so just in case I didn't show it, forgot. Darren kindly dogged down all the stringers. That was a very noisy job, but he's done an awesome job. George and I got the bulkhead in and the anchor plate, so a little bit of fabrication there from George's end. 2 jobs tonight, anchor well, so he's done a quick sketch just to get us started. We're going a little bit thicker on our gunnels, aren't we?
We are, mate, and once we just trim this rough piece off this ply, so we use sheets of ply, we staple them together, and then once we get it full on the boat, we're going to draw in the shape of the boat, because the boat's just holding its own shape, so we're not even going to mess with that. It doesn't need to be messed with, so, but we'll come back to you, we'll go through the process.
Righto, so that's the rough shape of the gunnels, and then, yeah. Have you tapered it off at the end here?
Oh look, it's just a starting point, Timmy, that's all it is. We don't need to hold a big sheet up on the gunnel, so I'm just trimming a bit of ply.
Yeah.
I'll sit on there close to it, it's not going to be nowhere near it.
Do you want me to cut that?
Mate, you can go for it, cut that one.
Sweet. We're just about to chuck in a stiffener on the bulkhead.
Yeah, just a top stiffener. We've got the anchor plate in, and down there, if you see on the stiffener, the anchor plate's nice and straight. Just above that, it's just got a little suck in it, so we're just going to chuck a stiffener in to pull that plate back in, like that. Because we want this bulkhead nice and straight when we go to fabricate the gunnels. The gunnels are going to come in and land on this bulkhead.
George just said if you got anything like this while you're making the boat that needs to be straight, just chuck a stiffener on it, keep it straight.
Yeah, it's simple. Simple to put a stiffener in, and you know, I do it all the time, and hence the reason why a lot of my boats, they're straight, you know, and just taking that little bit extra time to cut a stiffener and put it in there.
Sweet, let's do it. So we're just about to chuck the gunnels on and get a shape for them, and George is just putting these things on. They're a little bit of boxing.
It's just to support the ply template that we're about to draw in.
Yeah, so we've put them on flush. He tacks them once in the corner, and then he taps them down to get sort of, it's just a rough at this stage, but taps them down so they come away from the edge, but you start them flush, tack them in, knock them down, and then just tack the other side.
Yeah,
so
we'll go through and we'll just tap them down just to give the gunnels a little bit of fall, so the water's going to naturally run off the side of the boat.
Yeah.
And because Timmy we put a curve in his bulkhead, so naturally we're going to blend that to the curve.
Beautiful.
So it's just all going to flow in nicely.
So, well, I don't really need to show you, but that's it. You just put them on flush and then tap them down to the fall you sort of want. Right, so George has just traced this MDF packing ply onto the boat. So we just had it sitting on these gunnels, and then he's just run a pen. So he's just going to quickly trim that out, and then we're going to get the width of our gunnels and he'll show us how to do that.
We'll chuck it on there and give you guys a look at it. We'll have a look at the template that we've just made, and then we're all happy with that. Straight onto the plate and we'll cut him out.
Sweet. George has cut out the edge of the boat all the way around, and we're just running a slightly thicker gunnel.
Yep, that was your choice, mate. You opted for about 30mm wider than what we do on standard.
So it'll be a nice footprint for me. I think it's going to end up about 270 wide or something. Yeah, about 270. His normal one's about 230, 240.
Yep.
So we're going to go about 270 wide.
So we need to follow the contour of the outside cut that we just did, and it's a combination square set at 230mm. And what we do is run it on the outside of that cut like that with a pen there. Just follow it along. You know, I've got staples here that I've got to dodge and get over, but we get over that. So I'll draw this line all the way through.
230 on the combination square, but on the side of, here's one I've prepared earlier, on the side of the boat, he's got a 38mm. So yeah, so it'll be...
So that is there.
Yep.
So, well actually it's a bit thicker there. That's the standard width right there. So there we go there. That's how much wider tin is going to be.
Yeah, and then you've got a 38mm
50 half pipe.
50 half pipe.
Yep, 50 by 38mm.
Righto, beautiful. Oh, you're a good man, Darren.
Smooth it out for me.
He's a good man, isn't he?
You hit a few staples, then you come through the staples and away you go. You know, I love this part of the build because you're making parts for this boat. You're not just grabbing a part out of the rack that's got A written on or B written on and gluing it on and hopefully it fits. And if it doesn't fit and there's a big gap, you've got to grab a come along and exert like 300 kilos of pressure to close that gap up, eh, Darren? Well, so from about here forward, there's about 1 metre. We're going to change the profile of that. We're just going to make it slightly thicker, but we're going to use this as a guide. So I'll continually draw this through, and then I'll give you a bit of a look at how I do it. You don't have to. You're going to maintain this shape right the way through, and most boats do. I just choose to be a little bit different. Let's do this. You can come here. So what we're going to do, we're just going to manipulate this bit of flat bar. It's 50 by 6, but it's pretty soft. All right. So Darren's going to hold it here, and we're going to feather it into the lines that we already have. So if you come down here, Darren, I'll swap the ends, and then and Timmy's going to draw the line.
Right, well, there we go. I'll just sit this down then. Hopefully that's good. So you're just going to put the curve in it?
Yeah, just flow it in. Yeah, that's good, Darren. Beautiful.
That's
flow
it?
in like
you
that.
happy with that?
Not really. I'm just going to come around a little bit further. Rightio, now I am. Draw it in.
From here?
Yeah, from there. Go. Boom.
There you go. Don't know if you guys caught that, but just widen the line a bit at the top there, so give the gunnel a nice shape.
Yeah, gives it a lot more strength going into that front bulkhead. Yeah, it looks a lot better.
Beautiful. So what do you reckon? What's that about? 100 mil? 100 mil at the top.
Come back around about 1 metre.
Yeah.
And fed it into nothing, so we've actually just fed it into that curve.
Yeah.
Another important thing in this job, fairing lines.
And we don't have to take any measurements because this is going to be the exact template for the other side. So you just flip it over, and if it's slightly off,
the gunnel will correct it.
There you go.
The side sheet's coming into this gunnel shape, and we've already formed it on this side. We've picked it, you know, both sides are great, but because it's out this side's, we can got free to work, so we're not jammed against the wall.
there you go. So you're going to cut that, or are we chucking it on to test
mate,
it?
we're going to cut that, and then we're going to chuck it on.
And then if it's
It all
good,
looks good, up with the plate, mate, and into the cutter.
beautiful. So this is the template George just made. Sits absolutely perfectly on that boat. It's going to look really good. George just transferred it onto this plate, and we can fit 2 gunnels in the one sheet. So we've just transferred it on. George is going to cut this out.
Well, actually, while I'm doing that, you and Darren can just quickly do the end, the foredeck. The cover plate will go to the foredeck. It'll go on first, and then by the time I'm done here cutting the gunnels, we'll be ready to get them up.
So this one's a little bit more simple. Not have to pre-cut anything because you've already got the shape of the boat. Yep.
Yeah, so we just basically measured enough sheet to go on there. We've got it running in line with the bulkhead there at the back. Yes. Right, so it's a matter of tacking my side, tacking Darren's side, tacking up at the front of the bow, and you go through and draw it in. That's it. And you can actually see when I push down, he's pushed down, you've got a slight little curve in that plate. Oh yeah, down at the front. Right, just make sure, get Timmy, just put a little bit of pressure there.
Yeah.
Boom, draw it in, bit of pressure there, draw it in, cut her out from the boys. Now, you want a decent size anchor well?
Yeah, like that.
Yep, similar to that.
Yeah.
Whole decent size anchor. Straight edge and a metre ruler down. Right, so that one's around about set up at about 150 mil. So, do 150. 150. Pretty close. Same principle. Except your anchor well is following the shape of your boat, mate.
Righto.
Not like these square ones on the market today. I don't know what it is with square things. We were there in the cut there, Darren. Right, so we're just going to do a nice curve in there, and the MIG roll is perfect because it is a nice big diameter. Boom. Right, we're going to come inside that. We're going to give it about a 70mm lip there. Our bulkhead's right here, coming around about 70mm. It's a good number. You can go 50, you want it a little bit skinnier, but you just leave it fairly chunky. Roll that one across. Roll him up. One bigger. There it is, look at that. It's even got anchor well written on it. That was a soup boat at one point. Beautiful curve. Fair it into that line. Boom. Now, that takes a bit of skill to cut that one. Over here. Now, I don't believe in jigsaws. I'm just so used to having a multi cutter in my hand. We'll cut that with a multi cutter. Beautiful.
That's our anchor well.
That's our anchor well.
Righto, so we just finished, just wrapping up for the night, day 4. Sort of the last 2 days have been half days, but technically this is after about 3 days of work. What are we doing? Oh, standing up. Here we go. George wants me to get up on top and show you guys what we've done. You guys really got a good, oh, nearly fell through the table.
Yeah, you're right.
Have a go at this. Side gunnels on, tacked on. We're still going to make a curved piece in the front tomorrow night. And then inside combing around all the gunnels. So that's tomorrow night's job. What do you reckon of the new shape for samurai plate boats? What about...
Jimmy Turtle model.
And what do you reckon of the shape?
Nah, it's good, man.
He's liking it.
Your own little twist on it, mate. That's what we're all about.
Man, it looks like a spaceship. It's actually the sickest looking thing I've ever seen in my life. There you go, I'll give you guys a... Look at that. It's hard to get a proper perspective just on this camera, but looks beautiful. Have a go at it. Look at that. That looks beautiful. Falls away so nicely. She's going to look nice on the water. Another couple of small jobs tomorrow night and then massive day on Saturday. Don't worry about the day.
Hell, Timmy, this thing's massive. Look, we're standing here, sitting on the ground and... Bloody Jesus.
It's big, isn't it?
What a rig.
George just selling his own product. No, so today we have a few jobs going in. We got how many stringers we got to go in there? We got 6 in the front.
8 all up.
Yeah, so 6 in the front and 2
behind that. There's one up top that doesn't get put in yet.
Yeah.
Because it takes a bit of a, it's actually a curved piece, so we've got to fabricate that stringer and mark in the curve.
Yeah.
Cut the curve, check how it fits with no stress. From here forward, it's just going to fall in place. Most crucial part of the boat right here. So we just make this section super strong.
Righto. So yeah, 6 stringers in the front, 2 just back on that one, and then we've got all the combing.
Yep, we tried tonight to get the inside combing on the gunnels, right the way down to the back bulkhead. Forward to here, we're going to make a nice curve, nice flowing curve.
They look real good, eh?
It will, mate. The combing will follow that curve around. Yeah, sure looks
good. That's good.
Right, mate, we'll get a stringer. We'll get in to get a measurement on a stringer, and we'll show them how we put a little curve in it, and mark it out to suit the bottom.
Righto, let's do it.
Let's do it. Start with this stringer here. So it's going to go from where that stringer finishes on that side of frame 4. So it's about here, and it's going to run along there, boating to frame 5. So we'll just get a quick measurement on it, roughly. And it's not in a straight line like I'm measuring, so I'm just allowing a little bit. So in a straight line at 600, we'll cut one at 615. And we'll put a bit of a curve in it. And if we need to trim the length a little bit, we'll trim the length a little bit. So let's go do that.
Sweet.
Right, we've done it. Rightio, we cut our stringer 615. Right, now if I sit it in there, you can see, and if Timmy was actually in here, you'd see that it's not following that stringer.
Yeah, oh, I can see it, yeah.
You can see it there?
Yeah.
Alright, so all we're going to do, okay, is we're just going to put a little curve in it. It's just done by eye, and like this stuff's, it's fairly soft to work with. This flat bar, all the extrusions are, so it's pretty easy to, you know, a bit of weight, bit of a bend, turn it around. Alright, so the camera can see that, there's a little curve in it.
Yeah.
Right, we'll just put a little bit more down this end. That's looking a lot better.
Yeah.
Right, we'll just have a quick look. Alright, so now I know that I've got to trim that to try and get it in line with that one there. So Timmy's going to pass me my saw and I'll just do it in the boat so we get it in there.
Thank you.
I'll have a quick look. I can tell straight away that it needs probably another 10 mil off it. Right, but I'll just keep going down in 5 mil increments. You don't want to cut too much off and have a massive gap to weld up, so it's easier just to do little bits at a time. You know, if it takes you a bit longer to do that, who cares? You get a really good result at the end of it. Right, now it's getting close to where it needs to be. I've got a tack right opposite on the frame, right opposite where that stringer is. So we've got to notch it out anyway, let the water run through there. Do it on both ends. Now we should be able to get a bit better look at how it's running. Just sit over the top of the stringer and you can just about eyeball it. And to me, that is almost acceptable. And I run with that, you know, they're running in line, it's not ridiculously out of line. Okay, and now you can probably see I've got a gap here.
Yeah.
That gap doesn't get dogged down. That's the natural shape of the hole there. Okay? So what we do is you get your pen, thickness of your pen held flat like that is about 6 mil, and that's roughly about what it is. So I'm going to draw that in and we'll give you a look. Just holding the pen flat down on the hole. Like that. And if you really look at it, we've just picked it up here. And it'll be fine, but you can see that when I cut that now, that's going to have a curve. And once I do that, we'll check it, and if it's good, bang, we'll glue it in. And we've got to do that on that one, the opposite side. There's 2 that run down close together here, there. Then the second lot are up higher, and then the third lot right into where this one is and run through there.
Beautiful.
Right, so we'll trim this one up and we'll go through and we're going to do the same process on the rest of them and we'll give you a look at the end of it.
Perfect. So we're just about to make our curve for this section just here. What we did is we just chucked a bit of ply up there and we've traced around the inside, about 750 back. So we want the curve not to start here, to sort of start around about here, but he's going to start back there. Yeah, enough room. So we're going to start our curve roughly about here and then just blend it in. So there's our outline, 750 down. Just drawn it.
And that's just a really flexible bit of alley. It's got a nice straight edge on it. And we're basically just going to put it on the table. See how it takes a beautiful curve, natural curve.
Yeah, beautiful.
So we'll shoot some lines so we can get some measurements just to check that the curve doesn't have any flat spots in it. Darren cut that out earlier. Thanks, Darren.
Thanks. What's that? 3 mil alley?
Nah, 2.5.
2.5.
So I'm just going to put a reference mark on here at 350 off the front of that. We know that's the front of the boat right there. Darren, can we get the big straight edge? And once again, Timmy, like we're doing this because we don't want to stress anything. You know, we're just making it shape to suit its own shape. It's already there. We're not forcing anything in. Very, very important, we need center line. We need to find the middle of that. Always work off the middle of that. That is 650 mil, which is, Timmy, 325. Beautiful. Alright, so we just roughly get the center of this bit of, what's the name? Just so we've got a reference point. So we want that. Timmy's gonna film and hold that on that center line.
Righto, let me just get that lined up. There you go.
And I'm going to pull it around evenly. You hold the middle and pin the middle the whole time.
Got it.
Right, we're just going to pull it around. Right. And we're just going to flow it into the line that we already have there. Right. See how?
Hang on. Let me just
flow it right into the line at the end, and then we'll just poke it in like that, just in front of that 350 mil line. So I'm really, that flows into that.
Keep going a little bit more. Darren?
Yep. You can sight that side, can you?
Keep going, Darren.
Like, yeah, pick that point up and then just flow it into the rest of the line.
Right, that's on. Dead on.
Yeah, I'm really, really good there.
Just go out a little bit, Darren. Yeah.
Good? Happy? Sorry? All good?
Yeah.
Right, away we go again.
Perfect.
That's
beautiful. Righto, so now we've got a little bit of meat. Now we've got a little bit of meat at the top, and we've got that perfect curve. So
that's the line we're cutting, Timmy, that one there.
Yeah.
Right, and we're cutting it right back to nothing, like fine. That's the edge of the gunnel. That one there.
Yeah.
Okay, so it leaves us with nothing there, which is it's a little bit tricky when you cut it, and then when you go to put it on, 9 times out of 10 when you tack it, you'll blow that away, so you'll be tacking it back about here. And that little gap there, when you actually put the inside coaming on, there'll be a gap there. But it's so simple to fill that with a welder.
Righto.
Yeah. It's impossible to come to that fine point.
Yeah.
You know, using 4mm plate. Impossible. It's
Righto.
impossible on any size plate.
Righto, we'll get that cut out.
Yep.
Good to go. Righto, so we just pieced this front curve in. I cut the template out. Darren cut the actual piece out just so it looks a bit better than, but the template wasn't too bad. I was pretty impressed. And he's just tacked that in. I had to put a little cut down there just to make it fit because it was a little bit tight, but it's gonna look pretty slick in the front of the boat. Gives it a nice, look at that, gives it a nice round look to it, doesn't it? So now we've got to put the coaming on. So like George just said, do one piece that goes around the front here, and then we're down the side.
Yeah. But what we're going to do, we'll clean the gunnels off. We'll side them so that they're falling the way you want them to fall, Timmy, and get them looking nice.
Yeah.
And we might even just maybe chuck a couple of props in, just to hold one side perfect.
Yeah.
Because that one that goes around the curves, it's going to do both sides at once. And then from there to there, to the bulkhead, we just do one side, then we duplicate that. And that side will be identical. We don't have to template that side, we're going to do one side, then duplicate the part.
Righto.
Same as we did last time we go.
So we just started making the template for the coaming.
4 metres long.
So it's just tacked a little bit of 3 or 2.5 mil all the way around the edge here, and we've just drawn a line just to get our shape. There it is there. You happy with that, George?
Yeah, mate, so we'll knock that off and we'll cut that line.
Yeah.
Then we'll combo up to the depth that you want your inside coaming.
And that's just how we've been doing it with the...
Combination square?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet. Get the cutter. So we're just making we did the front piece. This is the template for the front piece. How come we didn't go straight? Because we're using thicker aluminium, aren't we?
Yeah, that thinner stuff bends around there a lot easier. If you try and do it with a big chunky piece of plate, mate, high tensile plate will never do it.
Yeah, righto. So we just made a template with a flimsier bit for the front, and then right straight onto the gunnel. Instead of doing template, we just went straight up with a bit of 4mm aluminium, 4 metre. But what is it? 5 mil. 4 mil, so 4 metres of 4 mil, and we've just tacked it on around there. George has just drawn a line, so we're going to cut it off, and then we're going to do exactly the same as what we did over there, where we just combination square down 90 mil, so we're going to have 90 mil gunnels. So we'll cut the tacks off that, put it on. George is going to quickly run down it, and we're good to go. And then
we'll cut it, and we won't mess around. We'll clean it up, and we'll just transfer it onto some more sheet and we'll cut the other side because they're both got to be identical, so we'll just cut the second one, clean it up and we're right to go.
And then we mould that second gunnel to this gunnel so they're both identical. So there it is. Pretty much exactly what we did with the gunnels, but
yeah, Timmy's made it a bit hard for us because we're not used to going up. And then it's reversed, the shear's reversed. So our shear line actually dips down, then raises up. So he's actually threw a spanner in the works with me because for 20 odd years I've been doing shear lines exactly the same. So to do one in reverse, yeah, we
You know, he's a good boat builder if he can just do it straight away though. There's been no hassles. He's killing it. So.
It's all good. Not a good boat builder, mate. Just a good fabricator, eh?
There you go. Good fabricator. Here it is. Gunnel number 1. We should be able to get 2 gunnels out of the one sheet, seeing as I don't have a massive shear line in my boat, which is good. Saving aluminium. No CNC here, everything handmade. Incredible. Made to fit. Look at that.
Definitely get 2 out of that one. Right, we're going to do that forward and back up. And this is the inside. Left.
Look at the camera, not me.
Can't go wrong, eh? We've got forward, up, inside, left. So,
Easy.
you're such a gun-hard card,
Oh, as you've seen before, we marked out the inside combing, and I just chopped it out, and then we transferred. Me and Timmy just transferred it over on to the next sheet.
There you go.
Timmy and George are going to go fit this one.
And Darren's going to cut this one out. Just wrapping up on day number 4 of the build. And we got the side gunnels on and that top piece like we wanted to. George got the rest of the stringers in this afternoon, so it's just coming together. Tomorrow's a massive day. Tomorrow the boys will be welding down all the stringers. And then George will be welding out all the, what do you call it, transom? Pod. So this will be done tomorrow. Pod will be done. As soon as those 2 things are done, we can start moving on so we can get the fuel well fabbed up, fuel tank. We can start putting the floor on and doing the rest of it. So exciting times ahead. It's good doing these little nights, a couple of hours here and there, sort of get these little jobs done. Like at the end of the week, like if we only did big days on Saturday, we would be still doing, like it'd be a whole day's work that we've made up in a 3 or 4 nights, so 3 nights. So it's been a good little thing. Righto, Saturday morning, big day on the boat. We've got, this morning I come in early, vacuumed out the boat for the boys. That's about as high as my skills go at the moment. Darren's on the inside doing all the stringers, frames and centre line. Yeah. Full stitch on the centre line. And then
fully welded that one.
Yeah, fully welded, and then stitch on everything else. And then stitch on the sides as well, so massive job for Darren. George is on the pod. George is, what do you got, stitch and full weld most of this?
Yeah, fully weld all the pod down the bottom, stitch all the stringers in, and heavily stitch in the boxing for the outboard.
Yeah, and then just as we were setting up today, George put in 2 stiffeners, 1 on either side here. So he really wants to keep this shape, and he reckons that with the amount of heat going into the boat today, she's going to move. So chucked a stiffener on, sort of curved it around and pushed it in and tacked it on.
Maintained its shape, that's all it's done. Hopefully it'll stay that way. Should do.
Beautiful. And then on the inside as well, because it's such a big-sided boat, there's a lot of sheet to move, so we've also tacked it in, cut the box out for the boys, and they just tack.
The vertical ones there on the gunnels will pretty much stay there until we weld the top sides of the gunnels out.
Yeah.
Stitch them in, then we'll let all that cool, so it should be fine. It should maintain its shape.
Yeah. And then down this side as well, so that's the other stiffener. So a few stiffeners in there for the boys. I got to cut rod tubes today or something.
Yeah, mate, while we're welding, you got a heap of rod holders to cut out and clean up and drill and pin.
Righto, so that's my job, making rod holders. So make probably about 8 around the boat. And then,
2-0 you're making.
how many along the back did you want to do?
Oh, I'll probably try and get 12 across the back there when we fab up that
There you go.
custom rod rack.
So there you go, 20 rod holders. So that's my job for today. Cut some of this tubing out.
Yeah, hopefully by mid-morning or just before lunch we'll be out of all this welding, and then we can go to lunch and it can have time to cool down. Because yeah, we're going to hammer it. We're going to hammer it hard.
So we just cut out like 20 something. I've already done all of them, but just cut out 20 rod holders for the boat. So got to clean them up. So once they clean up, what's this called?
Deburrer.
Deburrer. This coolest tool I've used so far. Just get that in there and run it around 3 or 4 times till it's all smooth. There you go, rod holders. So that's one, and I did do the last 20 while the boys were welding, so there's another 21 just there. And the next step, what is it? To drill a hole, put it on the drill press.
Yeah,
So
right
this is
through.
their little jig that they got. Slide that in there so it's flush. Boom, straight through there.
Straight through, and it's centered.
So I will drill all of them and then drop a pin in and tack the pin in, and rod holders are ready to go on the boat. So George has just finished up underneath the pod. Yeah, welding out the pod. So it looks absolutely awesome under there. We'll get this stapled up and then I'll give you a look underneath at what he's done. But what's the next step, George?
So what we're doing, we're just fabricating the shape here. We're going to make this pod plate. So that's the basic shape we've got to fill in, and then Timmy's pod's going to have extended steps on it. So they'll come out from that point of the transom there, they'll come out here, about 300 mil, rounded, and back in. So he's going to have like 900 mil of platform on the transom of his boat.
Unbelievable.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, George has just cut out all these and did that pen trick for the curve on the slight curve on the side. That back bulkhead should be dead straight, so that's just a straight piece. But now we're just about to staple all this together. So he's even cutting around these little bits.
So yeah, we'll staple it together and then we'll transfer it onto a sheet and we'll draw it in, and you guys can have a look at it. We'll show you how we've drawn steps in, because we just do that freehand on the bench.
Awesome. Do you need this?
Staple gun, mate. We'll get them in. We'll get them in place. So I'm just extending the line.
300 mil.
I'm extending the line roughly 300 mil. I'll put them in. Voila. Said Darren. The voice from the boat. Spoken. I like to run a bit angle here. Don't want to come out square to the engine. The engine's going to fit in and needs to turn.
Yeah.
Right, so he's going to tweak it a little bit.
Have you got a line on there, or are you just eyeballing?
I've got a line, a reference mark here, but I roughly know what sort of angle I want.
Yeah.
And to me, that looks pretty good. But we'll do it, and we'll cut it, and we'll put it on the boat. And if it's not, doesn't look right, then we'll just tweak it. You have like 920 mil of pod.
That's what we came up with the other day, yeah, wasn't it?
Much, mate. So what I'm doing here, I'm not using a square corner there. This is going to be rounded, and it's going to be sheeted in with a nice rounded corner. You take the radius there, same radius here. Bloody lovely, some looks sweet. Nice little tight corners, rounded corners. Give it that little bit of bling. Voila.
That's it.
We'll cut it out and have a quick look, eh?
Righto. Yeah, right. Looking good, mate. Looking good. Look at that.
Hot.
Unbelievable. Righto, George. Quickly before Darren gets started, George just opted for the ply instead of going straight to the template just to have a look, see how it was. That's our back deck. So that's massive. Look at the size of that. You'll be able to pop off that, jig off that. Like it's a proper dance floor, that is, isn't it?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we're going to stick that straight onto the alley, cut it out. What do you reckon, George? You happy with that?
Yeah, mate.
Look at the size of this. I'm going to have to stand back, get it all in. Look at the size of the dance floor on the back.
What are we doing?
You're cutting out the cover plate for the engine bolts. Is that right?
The hatch.
The hatch?
To the pod, yep.
So he's just traced it and then made it 20 mil bigger so that,
We can weld it to the sheet to the box.
and then make a hatch for it,
Yeah.
make a lid for it.
We've drawn in the box that's in Timmy's pod, and we've drawn in the centre lines. So we're going to actually cut out slots in that as well. Boom, boom, same. And then you'll see when we chuck it on, that allows us to plug weld it down to the box. So it stays nice and tight, nice and flat.
Right, so the inside of the pod's been welded. Just about to fill it full of foam. I just thought I'd give you a quick look while Darren's finishing off inside. So stitch welding down all these frames, fully welded on the outside, and then just stitch welding all through. We just added this mesh. This stops the foam coming through into this pod here. So it's just added a little bit of fly screen or security screen. All stitch welds all over here, up the other side. So yeah, we'll put the foam in. Oh, I forgot to vacuum that. Put the foam in, and then we'll get that pod lid on. Here we go, foam's all in. We have to leave, so this one stays empty. This one needs half because of electrical wires and things.
Pipe.
And pipes, same on this side. And then you got, what do you call them? Scuppers.
The pipe drain the deck.
Draining, so it's like a self-draining deck. So we also got pipes coming out here to the end. So we only half fill these two, just because the stuff coming in, but we've fully filled up these with foam, the two centre
Make
ones.
up the rest of the foam will go down on the floor.
Yeah, sweet. The rest of the foam's going to go all the way through, yeah.
It's all good. We've got the pod in. Got stuff in. This afternoon we're going to frame up the outboard cover. So we've basically got to box all that in. So we'll be doing that, and hopefully if we've got time, we'll get the side pillars in as well. They've got to be boxed in as well. Fill those in.
Yeah.
And we'll see how we go. So Darren's going to be in there pretty much all afternoon finishing off that welding. So we'll stay away from him and stay out here and leave him be.
Righto guys, George has volunteered some of his Sunday afternoon, so we're back in here. We were going to have the day off, but George wants to get back in, get some more stuff done, because we're going to have next week off, next weekend off. So finishing up on what we finished last time, we got the pod on, these side things, pillars made, got the foam and everything in. I think I filmed all that. They're all the rod tubes I made, ready to go, just have to pin them and weld them. Darren finished seam welding all the stringers, so that's a big job yesterday, so it means we can move on today. So the first job is to mark out the floor girders, so where all those holes are that we cut out when we made the frames, we have to mark and then cut the top out so we can slide in. What is it, 50 by 6 or
50 by 25.
50 by 25 mil blocks. We'll slide in there, and then in here we'll have to cut out where the fuel tank's going to go.
Yeah.
So pretty much from the back here all the way to that front frame. He doesn't like to cut the front frame because that's sort of an extra strength. Leave that in place because that's what's going to cop the most amount of bashing. So
Yep.
yeah, Darren did a good job.
Yep.
We actually did 3 by 2,
Yep.
which is survey standard.
Yeah, 100%.
So survey standard, which is good. So yeah, today's job I'll be drawing out all the lines. What are you doing?
I'll measure the girders and cut the girders. By the time you've got them marked out, you can chop them out.
Yep.
Once we get them marked out, yeah, and then we'll get the girders and get them tacked in place, and we'll weld them out this afternoon. And then we've got a little bit of stitching to do up underneath the gunnels and the inside combing. Nobody ever you don't see that, so that's extra work. So we need to get that done so we can remove the stiffeners. And then hopefully by 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock tonight, we'll have a floor in it.
Beautiful.
Temporarily.
Temporary, because we don't have any foam.
We're waiting on foam due to COVID.
Classic. We got the floor girders cut out, chopped all them out, and we got the girders down and just tucked in. As you can see, George pulled them up so they're all flush with the top and just tacked them all. And then we marked out where we're going to cut out for the, what is it, fuel void. Yeah. So there's a fuel void made, and then there's a tank made to fit inside the fuel void. Yeah. So we've got that marked out. As you can see, I'll just go that one's the easiest. And then we've gone around and we've drilled some holes just to make it easier to cut out. So we'll chop down, follow that line across the bottom, up the other side, and then we'll start mucking around with that. But so far, so good. George has done some calculations. He hasn't slept for the last 3 nights thinking about this boat, and we are actually going to get roughly about 400 litres in this thing. So this is going to take me to, from here, pretty much all the way to not Cooktown, to the Cape and back. We're pushing the limits for this boat. This boat's going to be the ultimate sort of travel boat. Should be able to take me on the ocean, open oceans on calm days, and then up tiny creeks because of the hull shape, 15 degrees. There you go, so like 350, just chock the motor up and should be able to get into creeks about 350, 450 deep. So yeah, this is going to be the ultimate travel boat. So that's why we wanted a big fuel tank in there, wanted to be able to go places where not a lot of people are getting, and sort of the whole idea is to sort of live out of this thing as much as I live out of my car. So what do we got?
She's the best cook in Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We have a steak casserole. Oh, and it's just a bit of this, bit of that, bit of this, bit of that.
Bit of rice.
It'll be the best thing you've tasted, mate.
George's wife is an amazing cook, and she's hooked us up tonight. So we're going to get into it, take a 5-minute break, straight back into it. George is cracking the whip after this, eh? No slowing down tonight.
We've done major tonight. We've cut all them frames out. That's your fuel void, mate. Look at it. There's 400 litres in there.
Was that the last thing we talked about, was cutting them out?
Cutting them out, mate.
Yeah, right. So they're all cut out. We've notched out the sides.
Yeah, that's going to run same girder on top. It's going to run down the sides.
So
and then our void, when we fold it up, is going to come up to that girder and it'll be fully welded. But we're going to get these 2 side girders in tonight. We're going to get that centre one down, and then we've got a heap of stiffeners to run crossways across those frames that we've thinned out, like we've taken a lot of material out. So we're going to add some material back into those to give them some strength. We're not going to take any shortcuts, mate. We're just going to hammer it. You know, I was hoping to get the void in, but should be right. We'll get it all gusseted up.
Yeah.
Looking smick. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm ready to
Okay,
go. I'm ready to go.
How was dinner?
Yeah, beautiful. Righto, so George just finished tucking in our void for where our fuel void's going to go. He added strengtheners, 6mm flat bar as strengtheners. He's going to fully weld them in. So we're going to cut a line where he's put this flat bar. We'll cut a line across there, fully weld it through, fully weld these joints, and then sand it all so it's flush. So what's going to go in there is a 3mm fuel void and then a 3mm fuel tank. So just George, this is the first time we're going to use this in our build, but George actually bought a press 2 weeks ago.
Oh, a month ago?
A month ago. So he's had a press for a month. Normally he would cut each individual piece, weld them together, then install them. But instead, we did a dummy run for a fuel void, and we just folded that up. So we're going to do a full length one now, but we did a dummy run just to see how much we'd lose when folding it up, and we got 260. We're going to lengthen that to 262 to give it quite a snug fit, probably give us about 1mm either side leeway, or 2mm, and then we're going to go 260 high so we can get a really nice weld all the way across to the frame. So we're just going to do a full length one now, 3 meters long. So dead center of the line.
Dead center.
Hang on.
How we looking?
Give me a second.
I'll do a clamp down with this check. It'll always come up.
Righto, that should be good. I'm pretty perfect. Send it.
I'm sending it. In auto.
Beautiful. So we just ramped it up to 96, and we're not quite 90, but the fuel void that we cut has a little bit of a fall away, so we're gonna keep it with that. It's just off 90 degrees.
Bring back. Oh, looks pretty good to me, mate.
So how much time does this machine save you?
That's normally fully welded.
So you've saved yourself probably what, a couple of hours?
Easily, a couple of hours. And it drops straight in there, ready to get tacked into place. I don't have to put a bottom tap sheet down, tack it in, and then measure and cut the side plates, tack them in. What a game changer.
And this is our fuel void. When it gets late at night, George can't see properly, and he always marks his lines on his ruler, but he's marked a line, and there was multiple lines marked, so...
Now, it's been rubbed off now.
No, it's not.
There. So I went...
No, it was on the other side. There you go. You had 5... What did you... There you go, 524 and 550, so you've marked that one. He's marked that one. And so one end fits in, but the other end doesn't.
Tomorrow, Defo, there'll be no lines on these f***ing rulers. No. I can't see, mate.
Georgie, how does it fit now?
Oh, after 2 hours of sand, it's wonderful, mate. Can I hold the camera for a minute? Hey guys, now look, see the sanding dust on Timmy? Now look, all you viewers out there know the barefoot fisherman? Well, this is his son, Timmy, the barefoot fisherman, fabricator, whatever you want to call him.
Just getting it done. That fits like a freaking glove in there.
Timmy's such a gun on the bender now, he'll be marking that extra piece that we have to add into it. Because we can only bend 2400 and we need 3 metres, so he'll be bending another piece
600, yeah.
And I'll get in there and weld all that up while he's doing that. And by the end of tomorrow night, we'll have the fuel void in, we'll have it all capped off on the ends.
Last night we finished up by making the fuel void.
The second one.
Today we started with the second one. Today I cut out, we did manage to salvage a little bit of the one that we messed up. So that one does fit in, which is good. So we're going to use that. I cut that up this morning, checked it all fits. So what we did is we actually welded up all the girders. And then I just sanded the tops off them. So got that done today. We just pulled the fuel void back out, and we're going to cut some little slits in it so we can weld it to that flat bar at the bottom. So pretty much what he's done here, where you cut the slit in it, and then you just and then you plug weld it. So we're going to do the same with the fuel void. While I cut the slits in it, George is going to get in here, cut slits in all these, all the flat bar, and then he's going to weld them together, and then we sand them flat, do we? Yeah. So he'll weld all that flat bar. That was the strengthening flat bar we put in yesterday.
So that's the frame by about 150 mil.
There you go. So
That's into the stringer, so that'll all be welded.
Fully welded all across the frame. We'll cut a slit with the grinder between the two and weld it so that it's fully good penetration, and then we weld it flat. So, and it'll be welded into that stringer. So all of them pretty much go from the second stringer to the second stringer, and yeah, it's gonna give the boat super strength. That's it. Beautiful.
Just allows good pano when you go to plug it down.
Yep.
and get it all in one run. And
Okay.
you know that it's a decent weld, so it's going to hold. Other guys just drill holes and you just plug it up a hole, but they pop. These don't pop.
So last night, I don't know if we didn't finish up, but we ended up getting the fuel void in. That's all tacked in, added a bar across the back as a bit of a strength now. Just turn that down a tad. What do we do? So it's all 3 mil, but the end caps are 4 mil. There we go. We've cut all those slits out. So righto. So yeah, George tonight's going to weld. So we've welded the top part. He's going to weld all the verticals. So you got to do just one side, eh?
Yeah, one side's enough, mate.
Just the front side.
Either way, whatever's easiest.
Righto. And then I'm just going to go and cut 3. I've got 3 more to make for the front section here, and 1 for that back section in the middle. And then tonight we're going to. Darren jumped in here during the day and stitch weld underneath the gunnels just here. So that's on one side. He's going to come back and do the other side. So that's all done. So then we will sand these little tacks off the outside, and we should be able to get the half pipe in.
Hopefully.
Half pipe, and then once all that's tack weld, we'll remove these bars that have been keeping the gunnels straight and get a floor in here, just temporary until the foam rocks up. What else? That's probably it, just floor. There we go. We need to cut, my job for the night's going to get to cut those last remaining girders. So I need 4 at 650. And then, so there's one piece. There's another piece, should get another one out of that. I'm going to cut these out. George is going to get into some welding and we're going to hammer it tonight. Lots to do. George finished up all the welding. We've cut the battens out. We do still need to stitch underneath the gunnel there, but we just threw this 3 metre bit of ply in there. This is going to be our first floor sheet. And we used packer.
Just to get it.
About 100 mil packer or something, just to get the. That's our line down there of the side of the boat.
Refairing it in. This is just to go from here to the sheet.
Yeah.
We'll cut it with a little bit of green, and the sheet will go in, and I'll probably fair it with the thickness of my pan and cut it. It's got a bit of movement, in it, but it gives us, we're not wasting materials.
Yeah.
Put it on there with minimal waste.
So first floor sheet, rough thing, but that's how George gets it done. Let's put it back in and see how she fits.
Looks pretty slick to me.
There you go.
Alright, mate, can you run underneath that fuel void? Would you pen against the fuel void? Or you pen against the box? Like lay down so you can see what you're actually doing. I'll cut it to that size because it gives me, we've still got 20 mil to play with.
We just used the wooden template to cut our normal piece. I got to cut it out because it wasn't the final finish. Now George is just going along with a 6 mil packer, putting in the actual line, and he's going to cut it like a CNC. Unbelievable on the cutter, so that's our actual line now.
See the gap we've got? So we're just fairing that in. We know that the boat's nice and true, it holds a nice curve, and that's exactly what we want to maintain. So it's just a packer held against the side of the boat. Like that, and you just pull the line in. Boom.
Here it is. After George has trimmed it, slide her in, George, see how you're going.
Pressure's on.
Pressure.
Here we go.
Oh,
One size fits all.
that is the snuggest bit I've ever seen.
Bada bing, bada boom, no gaps.
What do you reckon, George?
Oh, I can't wait to weld it, mate.
Righto, Darren's on the next sheet. We'll put them in tonight, get them tacked in, and
Whoa, mate.
whoa, come on, come on.
We've got to do a bit of marking here. We've got to trim it here so it fits. Just to prove that the deck is a self-draining deck and the deck has fall in it. Level sitting on the deck there now. Shoot the bubble on it. Alright, the bubble's a bit over halfway on the, what's the name? When I raise the level up and bring it to level, I've got about, what do you reckon, 30 mil underneath my finger or 40?
Yeah, 30, 35.
There you go. 35 mil fall in your floor.
Yeah.
So if that's long enough to run water off, then
So we're just marking in the frames for, what do you call them, the slots?
Yeah, got a stiffener. Oh, straight edge, you mean?
And we'll just mark them in, and then we'll cut the same as what we did for this. Pretty much
You
exact.
have to cut it to 3 metres, mate.
Pretty much exactly the same as that. We'll be putting in the floor. Well, this is it. Floor's in. It's all got to come back out. Foam arrives next Tuesday, but looks good. We've already got all the templates done. Monday. I'm not back till Tuesday.
Tuesday night's going in.
There you go. So, what do you reckon?
Yeah, mate. Big night tonight. Darren jumped back in tonight. Helped us get it done.
Look at that.
It's a massive floor.
Oh, he's the ball.
Come on, in here. Where's the ball?
He's in it.
Meal's here. Oh, you big sook. Runs after big scrub balls, but
Pansy, eh?
oh,
Pansy dog.
oh, Millsy,
Pansy dog.
what are you doing?
Yeah, everybody, Timmy's been sitting on his ass today, doing absolutely nothing. That's a YouTuber for you.
I actually did Pelagic Pursuits thumbnails, so
Yeah, he does everything for everybody else, but he doesn't do enough for himself.
there you go. You heard the man. Give the shirt off my own back. Righto, guys. George is a little bit cranky. We're gonna have a break. This is our last night for about 5 days, so we're gonna have a bit of
I'm
a
not
break.
cranky, you're going away pig hunting. I told you next week this thing could be finished, but you're going away pig hunting by the day.
So anyway, George, this is the last night, and then everyone gets a good rest for 5 days. I'm gonna go away and do some content. So tonight we've actually got a pretty cruisy night. Probably only a couple of hours in it, hopefully, if nothing goes wrong.
It'll be 9 o'clock,
9 o'clock. So first job, George is going to throw some tacks around this ankle well to keep it in, and then we get to grind down these tacks around the outside of the boat. Might have to fix up the inside, jack it up a little bit, and get an extra about 3 mil of fall on these rails. So that's sort of another job we're doing tonight. Won't take very long. We just put some spaces in the bottom down there. Just jack it up a little bit. Cool thing for tonight, actually, really cool thing for the night, we're actually putting on this half pipe on the side of the
He
boat.
wanted the half pipe on it before it was actually put up because he thinks the half pipe's looks that good.
That's it.
I tried to explain.
Look at this.
We've got to just set it.
So this is what it looks like when it's all finished. There you go.
And all fully welded.
Look at that, all fully welded underneath, no salt water getting in there. And then this is what it sort of, you get the top finish on that. Oh, come on, focus. Focus your dog. There you go, so you get that nice finish on top. And you get that beautiful finish. So that's what we're trying to put on tonight. We're just gonna tack it on. Not fully weld it just yet. That'll probably be next week. So yeah, very exciting. So first job, George is just gonna do some tacking. I'll do some grinding. And then we're good to go.
Good to go.
Well, there she is. She didn't really take long, actually. Pretty quick, wasn't it, George?
Yeah,
She
right.
just fell on. How we go with that? So, once this is on, we're doing a bowsprit up the front here. Come off this really nice custom bowsprit.
Looks good, mate.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Big white gunnels.
Yeah, so that, I'll just give you an idea on how wide it is. There's my feet. So when it's all finished, it'll look like that, wider than my feet.
And that's where you'll be fishing, eh?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll probably be standing here fishing. So it's like when your missus gets a haircut and then you have to spend a day getting used to the new shape. It's the same sort of thing.
I'm over a week to get used to it.
Right, so George has just finished telling me that he makes the sexiest plate boat bowsprits in the country. He said, get on in Google and you see all the other junk that's on the market. George, tell us about your...
Oh, mate, they've got sexy curves, but nice rounded curve. We run a beautiful gusset underneath. You know, it's the front of the boat. It's what you see. You can't put an ugly duckboard on there, seriously, eh?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Seriously, mate. Seriously, what are you doing? But anyway, that's what we're doing. Look, so we've got nice shape on the top, and then we're going to box it in. The half pipe's 50 mil. I normally box it into about 60 so I can get it over the half pipe. And then we do a little cutout here and blend it all in, and then from underneath we do a really nice gusset flowing into the boat there. Just makes it look strong, sip strong.
Righto. So let's get them on and cut them out.
Yep, let's fab it up. Right, that's all there is almost ready to go too. It's gonna need a little push there. That'll come in with a tap after. So now we just run the cutter straight around that. Weld.
Do you only run it shallow, do you?
Yeah, you'll see. That's the same here as what you're doing now.
Righto.
Right now, the shape might be, if you look at it, it might be a little bit like leaning out that way or leaning in. So you've got to go around just up it, so just eyeball it. And that should sit on there. See how it's flush there? It just needs pulling out there.
Yeah.
So we just start here,
Yeah.
corner to corner, and then we'll just work our way around. Like that. I'll just do one side at a time. This is actually really, really nice there. Just pulling over here a tad. Pulling out a tad here. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Corner to corner, so when you weld it, then you can sand it and you get a really nice round flush finish on it.
The corner gives you a really nice finish because you fill it and you can just put a really big chamfered edge on it. Yeah, it's flush, almost flush there.
Yeah.
So I'll come in here and I'll pop that and start there. Watch your eyes. Pretty good right there. I'll release that out now.
It's good the rest of the way.
Pretty much, man. Pretty good, eh? Tack. Tack. Tack up here. Done deal. There it is, one bowsprit.
Wow. But you can't check that it fits until you take the half pipe combing out?
We actually just do a little rough cut now,
Yeah.
and then we go over to it before it's welded. We go over to it and we put it on. It'll need a cut here and a cut there until we get it fitting perfectly.
Yeah.
It might need a little bit trimmed off here, a little bit trimmed off the bottom, so it hits the bottom and hits the top nicely. Now, I've got a little tool here somewhere. Hopefully I can find it.
So the way George just bent this up is he literally just wrapped it around his leg. This is a softer metal. It's not high tensile.
5005 4mm plate. It's designed to be bent. You can bend it.
Righto, so not
508 free plate like what your boats build out of, and you don't have a chance, mate. You can bend it if you're still there trying to bend it.
so a little bit less high tensile there. So 5053.
What's that?
5053.
5005 is the soft one.
5005, and then we had 4mm on the bottom, 5mm on top.
Yeah, and 5083 is the marine grade high tensile one.
5083, so that's the high tensile 4 and 5mm. And there you go, you just bent that around his leg and just tacked it on just like that. So what he said with this side is we run the cutter through there, get a really nice weld so that can be all sanded back. It's all about trial and error, mate. Oh, she's pretty close.
How are we looking underneath there, mate? What sort of a gaps we got?
Ooh.
Zero.
Zero.
Zero gaps. So I've cut a little bit too much out of it. So all I'm going to do is trim 5mm off that bottom cut. I'm taking 5 and we'll see how it is. And it's probably that good already that I can just let it go. Bada bing, bada boom. Best fabricator in Australia.
Is that it?
Well, not yet. We'll just trim it. Get it looking a little bit nicer. Sitting nice.
Righto. So it's just prepping it ready to do the welding. 1 second. Can you take the light off it, please? That's better.
Yeah, so I've done that one. I'll do this one.
So you cut pretty much 3/4 of the way down?
That's right. I need the light because I'm blind.
That's right. Brilliant.
I'm pretty good on the cutter, bud, eh?
Brilliant. Look at that. Good old CNC right here.
Samurai sword right here, bud.
Is that why you called samurai plate
I
boats?
thought it because I'm that good on that thing.
Well, guys, we just sat back and had some dinner. But while we were making up some primo Timmy Turtle sandwiches, we actually had, this has been a little project by George, Ulrich Aluminium and Significant Signs as a kind of way to thank the people that are jumping on board this build, not only when they get to the point of installing their products, they wanted to pretty much have it in the background the whole time. So they did this little sign up, and I'm about to flip it around and show you. I couldn't be more happy with how it turned out. It looks awesome up there. So it's going to be behind the boat, and we're actually going to get another one because we've got another Trailer Parts and Spares is jumping on board. So we've actually got another sponsor to chuck up there, so we need a separate board for... By the time you see this, there won't be a chance to jump on. It's just that as we get people on board, they're going to be going up on the sign. So I'll turn around and give you guys a look. Check that out. So this is the boat right here, little Timmy Turtle's corner. And then up here we've got NQ Mono Hulls, which is George's business, home of Samurai plate boats. Then we've got Significant Signs, who's going to be wrapping the boat. Ulrich Aluminium, who have literally given us everything in terms of aluminium for the boat, trailer and wire. This wouldn't be happening without those guys. Sam Allen Wholesales, they're coming on board to help us with the fit out. So that'll be way down the line. L&R Boat Latch is a drive on and off boat latch. He just sent one in the mail, so it should be turning up soon. So I can put the boat on the trailer by myself in crocky waters and that sort of thing. You literally drive it up, and then when you want to get it off, you can take the boat off by yourself as well. PPG, they do Penatrol and wax and grease remover and that sort of thing. George is a massive user of their products on his boats. It gives it an amazing finish. It's very cheap too, isn't it, George?
Yeah, mate, yeah, and it's very affordable.
This here tin retails for about 40 bucks, and you acid wash your boat, and then
Big tin's $80, mate.
$80. So I'll use half of a tin on my boat though. So $80 for a big tin. You acid wash your boat and then you put that on. We'll be doing it inside my boat. It gives it a really nice finish. Anyone can do it. So anyone can sand it. Anyone can put that stuff on. It doesn't have to go. It's not harsh chemicals. It doesn't have to go to, you know.
We put it on by hand with a rag, and we've had a lot of customers come in and comment. They think we've actually sprayed it on. It comes out that good.
PPG, the sales rep turned up one day looking at buying a boat, and George just said, "Oh, we're doing a project, do you want to jump on board?" And he was like, "Yeah, PPG, put us down for anything." And then Snap-on, they've given us a couple of lights. George jumped on the truck and hit him up for a couple of things, so he might even get a toolkit out of it and stuff like that for the boat. So Snap-on just jumped on today. Still to come is we've got trailer parts and repairs down in Currumbin. They're going to be fixing us up with all the extras we need for our trailer. So she just emailed me today. Kim, lovely lady. If you're in Currumbin, drop in. If you need a trailer or anything fixed, go and see those guys down there. So they're going to be going up on the board. And then for any more sponsors, we'll get a second one put up. So big, exciting news. That's really cool. Kind of ties in, gives people jumping on board a little bit of extra exposure. Really appreciate anyone who's jumping on board and helping us out with this project. So to have the sign up for everyone to see, it's pretty cool. So
Yeah, pretty cool, mate.
thanks, George, for organising it.
It's all good, mate. I'm stoked. I'm really going to shed a tear, but I'm actually going to enjoy coming in and looking at it now. I don't have to look at this ugly piece of no, just kidding. Yeah, we're going to weld the bowsprit up and get him on, and we're probably going to have an early night.
Night number, I think it's about night number 10 on it. Just got back, we had the weekend away, everyone's rested, relaxed. You're already cranky again, aren't you?
No.
Got myself a haircut while I was away. I was sick of the metal shavings getting stuck in my hair, so all the foam arrived in the boat, so that gets put in tomorrow, my job. Tonight we just lifted up the rails a little bit. We did have them on an angle the other day, and when when Darren welded all the inside of the gunnels, it pulled them all down. So we just jacked them up, and then we're going to cut and weld all the outside of the boat tonight. Aren't we, Darren?
Yes, you're going to do the seam welding. Timmy will go through with the cutter and cut in between the tacks. Once he's cut through all of them all the way through, both sides, he'll come through with the welder and tack in between all his tacks, and then he'll come back with the cutter and cut through these old tacks. So then when he does the run, he's running through all the old tacks that are under tension, and he'll just fill it all up.
The reason you cut it, all this gets welded later on, sanded later on, so it's all flush.
Yes.
So it gives it a good bond.
Yes.
Righto. So big night for me.
On the welders.
Give us a quick demo of how deep the cut should look.
This bit of that.
And so we do it both sides too, hey? This side and that side.
Both sides you will be cutting.
Righto. Beautiful. So not all the way through?
No, going in, I don't know, what's that? 3 mil. So gets a bit of penetration, eh?
Done. Look at that, beautiful. So round the whole boat, then tack it all.
Then you'll come back after you've cut through like what I just did then. You'll come through and you'll put a tack in between the two tacks.
Yeah.
You don't worry about that little mini one. But like, boat, tack, tack, tack.
What are you doing, George?
Just putting a couple of stiffeners under your gunnels because they're so big.
So what George is doing, because my gunnels are shaped weirdly and so big, we've had these stiffeners to try and keep a little bit of a fall on the sides, just so when we take them out it doesn't all drop from the welding. George is actually just going to make some little gussets that go up underneath them at every second frame line on both sides. He'll weld them in, and then when we take these stiffeners out, because tonight we're going to chuck in all the foam underneath the boat so that tomorrow we can have all the floor welded out. We're going to try and get the floor welded out tomorrow, so tonight my job is to cut up all this foam.
Fit it into the boat.
Polycell air bubble cushion. So what's the benefits of this, George?
Survey EPE 50. EPE 50 survey foam.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great foam. Easy to cut, easy to fit.
Doesn't take on water.
Doesn't absorb water. It's pretty well fire resistant too. It won't hold flame. And we're not putting the foam on the bottom of the boat. The foam's sitting on top of the stringers. 50 mil above the bottom. Just to let it breathe.
Yeah.
You have no issue with rot.
Righto, how good's that?
I don't know what you did here last night because we've got to clean all that up too.
So finishing up on last night, I didn't do a wrap up. I got all the tops of the gunnels cut and then stitched, and then I cut the tacks, and then I sanded it all back, and then I fully welded all of it. And then this morning I woke up about 6, and before the boys started getting into too much of their work, I got in here and then sanded it all back. So that's all sanded. Bit of a rough job on this side. I got better as I went. First boat, so George has got a big job of fixing all this up and taking all the little divots that I put in it out. So George is a magician on the sander, so thank goodness for that. But as my first welding job, I found it a little bit frustrating. Thought it would
had power issues too.
Yeah, power. George tells me power issues, and that the brush that I cleaned it with might have had something on it, so it was a little bit hard to weld. I just thought it was me the whole night because I've never sort of welded. Yeah, so that's all finished. George is going to fix that up tonight. And then, yeah, I've got to cut all this foam up, every single piece, hey? 580.
Every single piece, mate.
So right, I'm going to get to work and just start cutting, mark the first one, and then we just put it on top and cut.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to get a sharp knife and set up the time-lapse camera and start getting into it.
Big day Saturday. This boat's going to be moving right along come Saturday. This time Saturday, big changes. You'll see it.
Sweet. I'm getting excited. We just ripped the floor up, floor's out, good vacuum underneath because we're just about to chuck the foam down, cleaned up all the tacks around the edges, cleaned up the floor sheets ready to go back in. So Darren's going to be handing me in the foam while I pack it out. George is working on some back rails back here. What are you working on? The steps?
Just the steps, mate. Just going to strip them out, cap them off underneath, make a nice corner gusset.
Yeah.
Just because we've been hopping in and out of it, we don't normally do it now, but hopping in and out, bound to tread there and bend the sheets, so I'll smack it out and get it out of the road tonight.
Righto, so just, that's 4mm alley, but
Yeah,
that's the
4mm, we just...
that's the thinner, that's the easy to bend one?
Yeah, well, relatively easily.
Yeah.
Easy. Yeah, so we started with a straight piece, just cut it on an angle, tack, form it around the back of the step, and then we'll cut a capping plate. And yeah, should be good to go. So while the boys are in there, I'm going to stay out here.
Righto, I want to start the time-lapse camera and we're going to start, I'll show you a fully packed out cell as we go. Last night Darren and I got in, got most of our, got most of the foam down, just have a little bit extra to pack in around the edges and some to remove. Because tonight's job is to get the floor back in, but also before we do, we've got to cut down and put in a trough or tray for the electrical wires, so all your wires from the console through to the motor. So we're going to put in about 150mm deep tray. Might also run a pipe through that as a drainage for an esky or something like that, an inbuilt sort of ice box. So we've got, yeah, just a little bit more foam to pack, a little bit to take out, and then we should be able to get the tray in tonight, get the floor down. How's that? George finished these off last night.
Just got to weld them out.
Yeah, so all underneath there as well. Perfect, we can now stand on it.
Yep.
The FK off doesn't apply to us anymore. We can now officially walk on the back, and it gives us a good look at how the pod looks. It looks really good, all beefed up like that, doesn't it? Chunky. Look at that. We're gonna get into it. So George's first job of bending up this box.
Yeah, just going to cut out the tray and bend her up.
Righto, so that's the tray box there. It's that'll be the base and this will be the sides, 150 deep. Yeah. George is just going to cut it out. We'll chuck it in the good old bender.
Bend her up.
And we're good to go.
A bit of framework, get him in. Just going to make it on the deck. Boom. Just got him.
Foam's all in. Just have to stand on that, get that down. Look at that.
Electrical tray in.
Look at that. Tight and compact. We got the electrical tray in. George did that.
People might ask why it's so short. Explain why it's so short, Timmy. Where's your console going?
My console is only going, so I'm going to be sitting here. This is my seat from the back bulkhead Ford 400. That is going to be my seat. I'm going to sit right at the back. Gives you the comfiest ride on a plate boat. And then 400mm forward of the back bulkhead is where my console starts. So I think it's about there. That's about 800 from the back to there. And then the console will go forward to about here. So literally all the wires only have to go from the console, which is straight down in here and then straight out the back.
Nice clean run right through. Look how much deck space you got forward of that.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, so we'll get this floor back in. We got one sheet sort of just going in. Feels like it's down pretty firm. We just got to tack it down. That's what a foam thing should look like.
And let them know that your foam is 2 inches above the floor. It sits on top of the stringer.
Yeah, righto. So the foam actually doesn't sit on the ground where the stringers are. It sits on top of the stringers. So, and then you compact it as hard as you can. The harder and more dense the foam is in your boat, the quieter
100%.
and safer you're going to be. So we've got about, 14 sheets of foam in here.
Yeah, we've got about 1.4 tonne.
1.4 tonnes. So each foam sheet's worth 100 kilos. We've got about 14 sheets in here, so the boat should never sink. So she's going to be a quiet ride as well as a safe ride.
The foam's right on your weight level with your engine, all your gear, everything. You're gonna top out at about 1.5, 1.6. So you're right on the money, bud.
Righto. Sweet.
Anything happens, she's not going to the bottom.